have that little notification up there
Yeah, I got
uh,
it.
that it's being recorded, and probably at when we just hang up, we'll probably can share this whole conversation if you'd
Yeah.
like.
All
Do you,
right.
just before we start, should I put my view in landscape mode instead of as I have it now? Is it more consequential for you, or?
Doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm trying it out. I've never tried it myself, so I'll see how that goes. If anything,
Yeah.
we'll probably can edit it later in
Yeah. Yeah.
using software or whatever.
Mhm.
All right, so you've been keeping up well, right? So in terms of coronavirus and stuff, I don't know, like it's been a month and I'm going a little crazy, but since I'm a little,
Mm.
introvert, it's okay. I can, play
Yeah.
guitars and you guys could probably do the same. Yeah, you do a lot of recordings and maybe, trying out composing stuff. You have a lot more free time these days.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's sometimes a little hard for me to be at home in my apartment and write music. I actually have to get away from here to be creative most times. But I have been doing a little bit of mixing of some already recorded materials for, stuff that you'll find out about later, I guess. So there's something going on at least with music. So that's nice to have some productive days while not having so much of regular work and stuff like that.
I see. So the most exciting part is like this album coming out, which I feel it's gonna blow our minds in the ways because is it coincidence that your album is coming out on the same day with Paradise Lost?
That's a
Yeah,
total coincidence. We didn't know. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
We already set the date when we found out that they were releasing it at the same day. So it's yeah. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but whatever.
I mean, I know you both went and saw Paradise Lost playing live in Spain. Is that right?
More or less, yeah.
Or were you too drunk to see them, or
kind
Yeah,
of, yeah.
you were too busy
yeah.
having?
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
kind of blew our energy the first day already, which for me that was anyway the best part because I got to see Daylight Dies, for example, and
same.
Unfair was awesome. So it wasn't catastrophe for me as I've seen Paradise Lost at least I think 3 times before. So yeah, it sucks that we missed it, but sometimes. Life has its ways.
Yeah. Yeah,
Did they play? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
we spent a great time in Spain, and meeting those guys from Daylight Dice was amazing. We share a
Really?
lot of
You
yeah,
saw
we
them in person?
Yeah, yeah.
we are
We got to say hi a little bit after the show and stuff like that, at least. So that's
Are
cool.
they planning on a new album? That's the key question because it's been a while since their latest release.
It's hard for me to say. It seemed like they had some ideas, but I don't know so much about the
yeah,
details.
just
So
just just the old classics, and everyone was happy with that.
yeah.
Did Paradise Lost play Forever Failure?
Well, we don't know exactly because
Oh,
what? Yeah,
because you didn't catch them
We
play.
didn't see it.
yeah.
I see. Um, all right. So, did you actually get to listen to the new single from Paradise Lost?
Um, Not actually sure if I have.
It's
I just saw
actually
the yeah.
yeah, it's pretty good. So you should check it out. I don't know if you.
Yeah.
It resembles the stuff they've been like doing for the past like 10 years.
Mm.
Um, it's pretty much the same gothic, um, doomish mm, type of metal. With it has some good, clean singing parts and some, I believe, some growls. But well, you call them growls, like Alejandro. You probably not. I'm not gonna call them growls. They're like more guttural type of Paradise Lost. type of vocals, which I find, they're extreme, but not too extreme.
Mm.
There's also Catatonia that I don't know if you guys been checking out. They just released new album. Did you check them out?
I just heard one of or two of the singles. I guess I haven't heard the complete album. One of the singles was more like a little bit more heavy metal style.
Yeah.
Right. Which is kind of fun, but it's, I mean, I appreciate they try some different approaches. It's easy to get stagnant, like doing the same thing over and over. So I was a little surprised to hear the like guitar solos and shredding parts, but it's cool once you. I didn't really realize I was actually listening to the song at first, but then I was like, yeah, okay, this is pretty cool anyway in its own right. So.
The first single was a little bit too calming for my taste, but the other one was amazing. The last one was really cool.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the lacquer? The lacquer is pretty like soft, gothic metal type of alternative rock style song, but the other heavy one has shredding parts, like you Jari said. Yeah.
Yep.
So, but it's it grows on you. Anyways, going back to your release coming May 15, will there be any additional single to promote this album before its official release date?
Yeah, I think it's actually coming out in 2 days, right?
In 2 days?
Yeah, I think so. Friday it should be. Sometimes, we got the schedule from the label like weeks ago, and then I forgot exactly all the dates. But
same here.
Yeah, and then usually he'll like
no.
Yeah, he'll send a message like the same day or the day before. Oh yeah, it's coming out now. So so it's a little short notice sometimes, but yeah, I think it will be just kind of like the same thing as with the previous one, YouTube video with the song, and yeah, we'll see what else.
Do you would you want to share the name of the song, the title of the single?
It's called Embers.
Embers. Okay, so is it like a sister track to Sinders? Because Embers, Sinders, they're
not really, but I mean
the same sound.
No, not at all. It's actually a little bit more. Should I say it has a little touch of old Bathory in it, or something like that, like a little bit of like early black metal influence, along with some more chugging riffs and some really doomy slow parts. So yeah, I'm kind of excited to get that one out and see what the reactions are, because I think it's kind of different from the other stuff we made. Also, it's probably the only song that me and Christian wrote the whole arrangement together in the studio, so that'll probably sound a little bit different as well.
So the drums were recorded in Norway?
No. We only rehearsed in that's Christian's rehearsal space in Trondheim, where I went there twice to do pre-productions with him, and then he came over to Stockholm and we recorded here in it's called Mikael Wikman Drum Studio. It's in the southern part of the city, you could say. Yeah, so it's a little bit of traveling back and forth, but it's all part of the fun, I think.
And I know that did you record Sears of Years drums there as well?
Yeah, that's right, exactly. That's kind of why we figured that's pretty nice, relaxed place to record in, and went there again. So
and that's exciting part, because the first album didn't have the real drums. It had you produced the drums in the studio, right?
You mean on the EP?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That is programmed drums on that one. Which, yeah. See, the EP was kind of totally different intention to begin with. It was more of a experiment for me to start with. I had made just a couple of tracks to see how slow I can go without getting bored. and that was kind of the start of the whole thing. So I just made those tracks and sent. Then Alejandro offered to try some vocals for them, and there is this history. So
yeah, that's why everything this started.
Yeah,
And it was quite an adventure all through these years. Like working together was very nice. It takes a little bit of time to work like this, but I think we're very happy with the results of this work through this year.
Yeah.
What are the challenges working like using distant work, cloud, driver? What are the challenges and what are the I guess the advantages to that, if there's any?
I mean, the advantage is that you can collaborate with anyone, anywhere, obviously. And sometimes it's not possible to find people who want to do the same style in your own city or even country or continent or whatever. So,
Planet.
Very true.
so-
Very true.
yeah, so we're like, we're like a pretty spread out scene, I guess, like kind of geographically very spread, yeah, so to speak. I mean, the disadvantage is, of course, that it's not really possible to do direct feedback the same way as if you're in the studio with each other. Especially like for me as a producer as well as a musician, like sometimes I kind of want to tweak details, and then you have to send things back and forth to do that. So instead of doing it directly, that would be a slight disadvantage, but I think it works fine. With the recording technology today, is you can do whatever you want anywhere with anyone. So
yeah, I will add about the disadvantage about it's very hard for us thinking about a live show sometime. But one of the good things about working like this is you have your rhythm. It's like there's not like a big rushes, and you have the time to review your work and improve it on the march at the same time.
So the recording vocals at the studio that you did, that was probably the last part, finishing the album, because I know that everything was already ready, and then Alejandro went to the studio and polished, wrote the lyrics, polished the vocals, and then sent it to you, Jari, right? And then you just edited and mixed it all up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's pretty much the procedure. Just recording all the instrument parts, and then I guess we recorded everything, like the actual takes and everything for all the instruments, and then sent it over, and you did the vocals a few months later after working out the parts and everything. So
yeah, and usually when I get the fifth sketch of songs, I make the concept and start writing the lyrics, and then when the music is done, so I go to the studio and record vocals and to build the concept of names, lyrics, and the whole bunch of stuff regarding the lyrical matter.
So Alejandro, what's the concept of this album?
The album is called Et Coagula, which is a Latin reference to there's like some kind of ritual about calling the equivalent exchange, which is if you want to gain something, you have to sacrifice something as well. And this happens through the fire. The concept of the aphoric veil was the darkness. The darkness you have in your heart and the darkness out in the world. And for this album, the concept is the transformation through the fire. That's the meaning of the whole album. So that's very much a description of
So, based on the first single, it seemed like it's like it's gonna be a dark journey through the Inferno, and I know that Dante wrote his comedy in a way that a person goes through a cycle. He goes through different cycles. He goes through Inferno, and this album deals, or maybe this track that the single deals with just Inferno part, or where there'll be like other tracks dealing with other stages of like Dante comedy, or they're all different.
Yeah, I mean the concept make an inspiration for many different sources. Is the whole album is not based on just the Divine Comedy, but there are 2 tracks on the album making reference for that that I just got inspired by writing lyrics and build the concept with it. So there's different kind of sources for the concept of the album, but Dante's Inferno was a huge influence for us to make the concept of the album.
So reading, yeah, I wasn't sure what the meaning of the album, but it says like you said, it's the Salve Et Coagula, means interpretation saying that to dissolve the body, well, something must be broken down before it can be built.
Yes.
And it also says that to dissolve the body, you must build up the spirit. So something like that.
Solve means dissolve, and coagula means to coagulate, literally in Latin, the old Latin language. And it can be used for everything. You can, for example, you can dissolve your I don't know, your anger and get something in exchange, or you can it's like that. You have to burn and destroy something if you want a change in your life. So basically like that.
So will there be any like more of less darker parts on the album, less darker songs, maybe like more of a maybe like instrumental parts where you just preparing the listener for another journey, or you just give them a moment to like just to recover from all that gloom and darkness. I hope there are going to be like I've heard there's going to be instrumental parts somewhere.
Yeah, there's I think there's quite a bit of variation in moods, or like a couple of different types of moods, at least, that the album goes through. So I mean, the main part of it is pretty dark. But then there's in the middle of the album we have an instrumental track which is somehow a little bit like in my mind more film score type of thing, or at least it's inspired by that kind of sound somehow. And not in the like Hans Zimmer type of thing, but you'll hear it when the time comes, I guess, and you can make your own interpretation. But
exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, my take on it might not be the same as everybody else's. So, and that's the way it's supposed to be, I guess. And we have a couple of tracks, like, I guess the album goes a little bit brighter towards the end. Maybe that is the like rebirth or rebuilding part after the destruction.
I guess so, because when I read the meaning behind the title of the album, I thought, okay, you're gonna break us down first, go show us the harsh side, go take us through the inferno first as listeners, and then we have to come out and be able to sort of like be able to build our spirit up again in a way, right? So
yeah,
so
something like this.
Sort of like that. Perfect.
Yeah.
What were the inspiration behind this whole conceptual album? Like song wise, maybe bands that inspired you. something events that happened over the past, like historical?
Can't really point to anything in particular. It's just for me, like writing the initial riffs and everything, it's just it comes whenever it comes, and it becomes whatever it wants to become. So I can't really do anything else more with it. There's usually no big plan behind it, but it's more like, okay, today I have a nice flow, and then boom, there's a song, and I send it over to somebody else to continue the work. So that was actually a lot of the songs were done that way, that I didn't even program any drums, because I thought it was so fucking boring to program drums. So I just recorded guitars and let Christian do his parts the way he wanted to do them on that. So that was pretty fun for me to not have to think about every aspect of the songwriting, like sometimes is the case. Usually I might not get involved with the vocal parts too much, but this time I left more of it a little bit more open. Otherwise, for the concept, I don't know. It's like, I've left that 100% to Alejandro to compose the concept and lyric ideas.
Yeah.
So besides Dante, there's other aspects, other inspiration, right? Any books, any specific, like?
Of course, the Dante's Inferno was a huge influence for me. I always wanted to be something about that, because it was a book that leave a mark on me. But also, I have a particular way to make lyrics and try like inner topics about humanity and human mind. For example, one of the biggest influence for me in lyrics. I don't really know how to spell the name. It's this band from Poland. I think it's Mugla.
I think it's Mugla. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So,
I have heard of that.
Yeah, the lyrics were amazing. So usually from the Photic Pale, I have some kind of build, some kind of style that I want to continue. But in this album, I was a little bit more conscious about the whole concept of the old album. And when I listened to the sketch of the first riffs of Jari songs, so I start to imagine in my mind how this can be being developed into something that is really cool and dark in the first place, and then it comes naturally. I usually write the lyrics in Spanish first, because it's my first language. I usually I'm way more fluent than I'm in English. So yeah, that's pretty much the creative process regarding lyrics. And usually I do it when I just relax and on my apartment, and have some beers and start to listen to the music, and okay, everything comes
naturally, right? It always should come naturally. It shouldn't be forced. Right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just creating mainstream music.
Yeah, I think the best things comes naturally, and that's why we wanted to keep Exgenesis alive, because for us, for example, talking about myself, it's a huge catharsis to make such this music and work with such a great musician as well.
Thanks, man.
Nice.
So you have 3 members officially, right? Christian is officially a member now?
Yeah. It's been the case for a couple of years now, I guess.
So you just, and bass, who's playing bass? Yeah, you play bass, right?
Yeah, that's me as well. I try my best. I'm not an actual bass player, but sometimes it's I also kind of want to. I know what I want it to sound like, so it's makes sense for me to record it by myself anyway. But I spent a lot of time. I was pretty thorough getting it right, so I had to buy a new bass guitar for this album, and I was really making sure that everything is in tune as good as possible in these low tunings with the guitars, and so yeah, it took quite a while for me to get it down.
Was it Schecter guitar that you?
No, I actually have a Schecter bass from before, but it didn't cut it for this. It's a 4-string usual one, so that was too uneven between the lowest strings. So I actually bought one of these quite cheap Harley Benton 5-string basses just to get that 5-string thing because it's more stable. So, but it's cheap and sounds pretty good. The electronics are not totally awesome, but I had to do a little bit of fret sanding and stuff like that to get it up to the job. But yeah, it's anyway, it made it possible for me to get that low tuning, which wasn't really cutting it with the other one. I actually had to tune up the bass because we tuned to C standard. Mm-hmm. So I took the 5-string bass and tuned it up a half step instead, so it's like C from the lowest string.
I see. So you got it all done in your studio, or at home studio?
Yeah, mostly at home. Yeah, I do as much as I can in my home actually, because then I can work on it whenever I want to without having to travel anywhere. So it's I think it's way more relaxed to do it that way. Also, mixing and stuff. I think that my workflow with mixing improved maybe multiple times after moving that stuff to my home instead of traveling to another place all the time, because I was always ended up frustrated. Like I come home and listen to what I've been doing, and I'm like, shit, I have to go back. So I would go back in the middle of the night. It's like 1 a.m. and I'm traveling back to the studio. That was crazy times sometimes working on certain albums. I just didn't want to do that anymore because it fucks you up and it makes you unhealthy and everything. So
right. Yeah, you skip work, you become lunatic, and you become obsessed. It ruins your day. Yeah, it affects your mood. I know.
Exactly. I know many times, like I went to the studio and then I was frustrated that I'm not finished, so I can't go back home with the last train. So I just stay all night in the studio, work until the morning. Then I go to my day job after that without any sleep, and then back again, and that's not a good way to.
That's the Jari's way.
Live your life. It was actually. It
music
was
for the music, it's you're writing music for the, for the sake of writing, and not for the sake of gaining something out of it, like fame or money. It's you're just doing it because you like it, and you're just doing it for the sake of art.
Yeah, I guess so. With pretty much anyone who's doing this type of music, if you were doing it for the money, you would be doing something else.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Alejandro, did you record any guitar parts for this album as well? Right, yes. Written parts?
Yes, it was like a constant, it's kind of funny, but it was never planned. In our first, for a Phoric Veil, I wrote some parts of Futsal Horizon, and in this one, I just made a like a base idea of one song, and then made some arrangements on the final kind of feel of solo like that. But the wizard is Jari in the guitar, but I have mine here. I mean, I have mine quite close as well. I have this one.
So is that which one is it? Ibanez S or?
Yeah, an S. Yeah.
All right, nice. All right.
But I changed the electronics to the Di Marzio,
Yeah.
I got it. I got it in the States. It was forbidden in a corner and covered by dust, and I bought it like for $200 and took home, and I repaired
Took
it.
good care of that.
Yeah.
It's like you're a baby. Did you go to the US actually?
Yes.
Did you travel recently?
Yes, my last trip was in Sweden, and in Spain.
Just like mine, yeah.
Yeah, but
Right.
yes, I often go to the States. I have some families there as well, and I meet this guy, Johnny, the guy behind Somnant project.
Summoning?
No, this one, Somnant. I don't remember the.
Summoning.
Yeah.
Like a doom metal, sort of.
Yeah. This one. This one.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine, and.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I remember listening to that album, actually.
Yeah, he moved to Romania, I guess. He's now living in Romania and married there.
Yes.
Quite unusual.
Yeah.
Moving from the US to Romania. Wow.
Yeah, you often it's backwards, but
Wow.
I was just on my way to. I was in Florida this autumn, and I was sending him messages like, "Hey, I'm going to Florida." He's like, "Okay, but I'm going to Romania," so it's, I didn't have the chance to catch up. I don't know if we would have anyway, but yeah, he's a cool guy. I like his work as well.
Yeah, he's very humble and very very nice person.
Okay.
Does he write? It's like a one-man band. He writes everything, right? So he makes everything, produces like.
I think he put together a live lineup at least or so. I know they did some gigs at least. So I don't know if that's a recording lineup or if it's just for live. I guess right now I don't know if he's able to do that on intercontinental basis, like.
Yeah, and
like
also I used to live in New Zealand. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, I remember you were traveling there for like exchange for.
I just went to study English, right? My English is not perfect, but in Colombia we don't have like the best education system, so that's why I have to move there and learn some English. I mean, it's not perfect, but at least I can communicate with Jari better than we used to, because in the very beginning was a very broken English. I don't know how Jari could stand that for so long.
I don't really remember that though, but yeah, I guess it's improved quite a lot though.
You guys nailed it though, right? The album was quite a success. I don't know. You had a good feedback on this single, right? Was there any like anyone that actually someone who didn't like the sound, or who complained or gave a little like a negative review?
I guess there's maybe something, but I think 95% that I saw was quite positive. Then it's like, for me, I don't really mind too much. People will think whatever they think about stuff. I don't like everything that everybody else does, even if it's not, you can't please everybody. That's the whole thing. And I think also the more exposure you get on anything, the more mixed opinions you will get about it. Like, say you have a pretty small audience, then you might have just the hardcore fans who really love everything. And as soon as you get a little bit more spread and publicity, you will have it will reach those who don't really have that taste or whatever. So I think that's always the case.
For sure. And the new the EP, right, will be also released with the new album, right? So that's fantastic. Was it any mastering done? Anything? It was just the same master copy.
It's just a reprint of the exact thing. Yeah.
Perfect. So we're gonna get like 50 copies of the new album and 3. I'm just reading off the of the website, and 300 of the old mini EP, right? Mini album.
You mean 500,
Digipack,
right?
500 copies. This is what it says
I think
here on
that's
the website.
usually the quantity that they've been doing for full-length albums, and the 300 for the EP. So
that works out great.
Yeah,
I believe. With this right, because Rain Without End Records is a pretty small label. I think for them it works out well. If they need to reprint something, they will reprint. Hopefully they will reprint and Shine, a debut album. I got my copy, so that's good. And I also pre-ordered the new Exgenesis album, so just to let you know, I have my copy pre-ordered, so that's great. But the first and Shine album has been out of print for a long time, and everybody's asking for it. So hopefully,
exactly. I guess both of them have been out of print for quite a while. Actually, even Singularity is also out of stock since quite a while. But I would hope that both of them might be reprinted whenever we do a new album. It's gonna take a while, but
gonna come out eventually, right?
yeah. I get a lot of requests for both. So
did you get a request for a vinyl? Was there any talks behind releasing LP as well?
The thing is, we just never really got around to it. It's pretty big investment to make vinyls, and so we'll see. It's possible. I'm a little bit mixed opinions when it comes to vinyls myself, but that's of course there's always some demand for those. So they look pretty awesome and everything, and but in the end it's for me, I don't see that much of a point putting digital recordings to vinyl more than for the fun of it. I guess it's kind of
it's usually you get to see the whole big nice cardboard picture of the artwork, and you can place it on behind there.
Exactly. It's just everything. Every time I've been involved in vinyl releases, it's like a random result generator, basically, because you send off the master to be duplicated, and then you get the vinyl, and it's like somebody put some random EQ on it, and you never know how exactly how it's going to turn out. But I guess I might try to experiment with some vinyl releases in other projects perhaps as well. So.
Alejandro, do you have Shine albums, copies, or any CDs?
Sure.
You have all of them.
yeah. I mean, friends, friend from Viari since quite a lot of time, but I also have a good relationship with Seb. We often talk about very kind of topics, and I consider he's a friend as well. So I got it quite early, and it was nice. It was nice because we are such a community in Europe. I guess we are like a bunch of people that knows each other and shares ideas and shares opinions for something, and it was quite nice because often those people come just Europeans, and I'm being Latino is quite a strange situation, but I quite enjoyed it. And it was very nice to have friends, around the world and share some kind of same taste of music and often the same thoughts, about economics, politics, stuff like that.
So it's probably the same melancholic spirit that we share, because Doom is very, very specific style, and it would never go mainstream. I feel like even now, this death metal bands that are mainstream, but doom metal will probably never become mainstream as much as like death metal or modern melodic death metal. I feel like it's very obscure genre.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you still have to explain to people what it is about, more so than death metal or black metal. I mean, it's usually people know more or less what that is about. But I think post rock is probably even worse. It's like, whoa, what was that? So
post rock is for like nerds, like math. People who just study math, or just write things, like write essays overnight, and that's all they listen to.
Well, yeah, I quite enjoy post rock as well, but obviously, it's just always very obscure when you try to explain to someone who's not into that kind of stuff at all what it's all about. So,
for sure. What about if we like just go track by track? I'm just literally curious what you guys think about your tracks. For example, I'm looking at the track list of the new album, and let's just like briefly talk about how they sound, like based on your opinion. Like for example, the first track, the opener, it's called Hollowness. How would you describe the track using your own words, like 2 words or like briefly?
Oh shit, 2 words
or like couple.
Well, I mean,
maybe sentences.
So from the start, Hollowness, I think it has a pretty big array of different parts in it. So I mean, it goes from really kind of slow and grinding to fast and grinding, because there's actually a little bit of like faster parts maybe. I guess we had some parts of this one in the teaser where it's a little bit of like blast beat type of stuff. I don't remember exactly what parts we took out there, but yeah, it's the first teaser I think had a lot of parts from that song, and they're kind of different, but they're all in the same song anyway. So it kind of traverses from a really slow part, which is a little bit, in my mind, reminds a little bit of some old Samael or something like that, maybe. Then goes into a little bit more like death metal type of stuff.
Yeah, like black metal, death metal.
Yeah.
Good. So Embers is the second single, and we can expect it in a couple days. So we'll just wait for that release, I guess, and then
So that one is like I described that one earlier. So.
And the third one is another single, right? Which flows, which talks about the darkness, the Inferno, Dante. It's a grower. Like I listened to this song when I first listened to it. I couldn't quite get the. I like this last part where like. That's the first thing I liked. I like that last part where there's like a chorus, and then there's like this two voices coming in with like a female voice, and there's like a male voice. There's Italian and Latin saying the same thing. It's like talking about like Dante's journey through the Inferno, right? So that's like that same passage, right, where he's at the gates of Inferno. And you took it from an opera, or I couldn't figure out what you do. Did you take that little part where there's like this like a female and a male voice coming in, and they talk?
The female voice is a good friend of us. It's Francesca Tassini from Italy. Actually, there are 3 voices there. The other voice is a good friend of us as well. Is Alessandro from Italian Balkan called Invernoa. I don't know if you know him. And the other voice is actually is Spanish. It's not Latin. It's a Spanish, and is a good friend of mine who I know him from a few years, and he has a very deep voice. So I wanted to make the representations of the three principal characters of the Dante's Inferno, which is Dante, Virgil, and Beatrice. So one is the guide, the other one is the traveler, and the other one is the inspiration. So I wanted to all the three people here just read the phrase when Dante reads on the stone gate, who says abandon all hope, those who enter here. So it's the same extract for that part, but in two voices in Italian and one voice in Spanish. And I wanted to create like an atmosphere of some kind of darkness and despair, being condensed on the losing of hope. And then when the people realize they're entering into the inferno, into hell, they will just release the voice, the angry voice, and being in the depths of the hell.
It's really haunting. The voices are really haunting. That's the first thing I could remember after listening to the track, and then I kept spinning it, and then I found that the riff is amazing, the way it builds up the riff towards the chorus, and then the final parts are like really entrancing and haunting. So really enjoyed that track, and I hope that it flows really well with the album, the way it goes. Like, I'm sure there's like, it's not just put there for I'm sure that there's like a structure to the songs.
Yeah.
Do they like flow?
Everything has like its own role somehow, and that made it really difficult also to pick out the first single, because I guess we wanted something that kind of reconnects to the EP style-wise a little bit, and some of the other songs don't as much. As you'll see, maybe the next single will be quite different, I think, in style in some ways.
That's what we want as listeners.
Yeah, and there's the same thing with many of the other tracks as well, that everyone is doing its own thing. There's maybe 3 songs that are sort of in the same style with each other, I guess.
Talking of the songs again, the next song that follows the Where the Hope Ends, it's called Truth. Surprisingly, it's not written in Latin. Why is that? There's just
good question.
Because there's all songs mostly deal with, like you said, there's Embers, there's Coagula, Stasis, Cosmos, so Hollowness. There's like Truth here. So what makes Truth stand out?
Well, I mean, Hollowness and Embers is also in English.
Right.
So I don't know if there's a pattern there. I guess Truth is a little bit of a disharmonic track, I would say.
Yep.
Like musically. So it's got a little bit of the kind of screaming disharmonic chords, pretty like high pitch stuff going over a more like low thundering background.
You had it in the first mini album. The first AP had few songs like that. Like, for example, Valhalla Horizon was pretty harsh.
Yeah, but this one is a little bit slower and heavier, I guess.
Yeah.
Slower and heavier. Wow. Okay. Sounds like another Samael. Yeah. What about?
I guess like
yeah.
I guess if I would compare it to anything on the EP, maybe Concrematio or something like that. But a little bit faster than that one though.
Yep.
So what about Solve? Is it that instrumental song that you guys were talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that one has a pretty like clean
Yep.
first half or first part. and then it goes to a pretty slow, epic movie type thing with still heavy riffs, but it's mostly like a clean and lead guitar based.
And how long is that song? Is it like 4 minutes?
Yeah, I guess something like that.
Yeah, it's not too long. Yeah,
one of the shorter ones.
So it's meant to basically, it's like an intro to a next song, right? Which represents the title album, the title of the album.
It's kind of a little bit of an intermission, basically. I usually do something like that in most albums.
Like Enshine has those strariums, right? And
exactly, yeah. This one is a little bit heavier than that, but that's the same role in the whole big picture of the album.
So Coagula is the heavier song, right?
I guess that one is one of the little bit brighter sounding songs. It's a little bit more melodic. It has a touch of melodic death metal, I guess.
It's compared with Total Horizon in the first.
Yeah, I guess like it's like a more like a little bit heavier and more down tuned, but otherwise I would say it's like has a little bit of maybe like early Dark Tranquility or November as such is a little bit something like that. This is Alejandro's track, so it has a little different touch as well.
Yep.
Would you say it has a bit of a slumber vibe to it?
Not really. No, it's more. It's a little bit higher tempo. It has a lot of double kick parts, and it's more up tempo. It's probably the fastest song, I guess, as a overall.
Yeah, I think it is.
Did you have that in the teaser? That little part of?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, no. It'll be exciting to hear that.
Yeah, I guess it's like the kind of it stands out quite a bit from the rest. So I guess we kind of wanted to start with more familiar sounding stuff, and then be more of a surprise when we throw these things in there.
Nice. So there's seems like there's a variety of songs that album will feature. So there's 2 more songs left. Intracosmos. Seems like it's gonna be like another dark, heavy.
You're right.
Sound song, more like gloom. So you're gonna take us through.
That one might be one of the gloomiest ones, actually.
Yeah,
it's got it's kind of a minimalistic song. It doesn't have like a ton of different parts, but it just like layers on more variations on some few basic riffs. It's pretty kind of slow and grinding as well. So
yeah, it's kind of primal, like minimalistic, but very, 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 connects with your inner gods and stuff.
Yeah.
And what do you
think it's like one of those tracks, when you start playing guitar and you just want to go like, dang, that's the kind of thing.
Let the reverb and delay sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Take you anywhere.
Just take that big fat E chord and just let it ring,
Yeah, beefy sound. Yeah.
Exactly. There we go.
All right,
so the last one is Stasis, and are you guys gonna finish this album with a more brighter song? Is it gonna be like a brighter?
I think it's more like the epic grand finale. It's more. It's pretty melodic. I would say it's not exactly a like bright sounding that way, but it's a little bit lighter. It's not so thick and dense. It's got a little bit like higher. How do you say? It doesn't go so low down in the chords and everything. It kind of stays a little bit more up there. But it's I think it's a good ending track because it has a lot of lead guitar parts in the ending, and a lot of build-ups with like crescendos in the drums, and I spent quite a bit of time synchronizing the drums with the lead guitars to get everything like to have impact, I guess.
Yeah, and this is the other song that has an inspiration of Dante's Inferno as well. For me, when I first listened, it caused me like the most, the saddest song of all the albums. So it's kind of have a sad and gloomy vibes as well. So I made
that's exactly right. Yeah, it's not so dark; it's more sad. That's right.
Yeah. So I made it like in a very taboo topic, the lyrics. I don't want to reveal anything until it's released, but it's kind of it's kind of sad lyrics on this.
Status. What's the definition of the word status? Stasis.
Stasis is when you're like frozen in time, and it's some kind of related with the word static. Static, when you're like without any movement. Yeah. Yes.
If you think of like the Alien movie where they go in these freezer boxes, that's stasis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, when you like in a cryogenic dream, it's like being in stasis. That's the definition for that.
That's great metaphor, and it's a great epic track to finish the album, because you want your listener to be in that same state, right? And to be frozen for a moment when this last part and the last chord fades out. You want them to be like, oh shit, what was that? That was like inspirational, epic, or whatever they think. There's a comment on YouTube. Someone said like, you guys are like, this is the true Catatonia. Did you like that? Based on the single.
I guess that is the only song that actually has anything that sounds like Catatonia. I think there's this one riff in the like almost in the end of the song, which is that kind of traditional rock beat a la Catatonia, like dum, da, and with eight notes melody. Yeah, but that's the only part in this album I think that sounds anything like that. So.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to find out what your favorite track on this album. Each of your tracks. Just pick one.
That's pretty hard.
I might say Embers or Stasis, actually.
For me is between where it helps ends and Stasis as well. Yeah.
I'm really curious to listen to Stasis now. I guess, and Embers, and the whole album, of course, right? Because it runs for like 50 something minutes, right? I'm not too sure that the duration, but I think it's going to be quite a journey when we all listen to it. A lot of people will expect like a bit of Enshine, a bit of Slumber, but it's going to be obviously Exgenesis. You don't want it to be like this and that. Like you want it to be stand out that way.
Exactly. It's some parts might be a little bit that way. The big difference is that there's almost no keyboards in Exgenesis, and there's a lower tuning, so it has a totally different sound that way. Now, of course, it's like always going to be some parts, some fragments of that kind of things, because I'm just I just play the way I play. But that was a little bit of a challenge for me as well when we started Exgenesis, that I wanted to try to do something that has a lot of atmosphere without relying too much on keyboards, because I had been doing a lot of that stuff with Slumber and Enshine. It's like always drenched in keyboards, and I wanted to just see if we could get away with not using so much of that.
So there's no single keyboards, right?
I guess like 2 parts, maybe 2 or 3 parts has some keyboards.
I see. Okay, so that was pretty much all I wanted to ask you, like with regards to the album. There was just there was no questions that were addressed to you, but someone asked me like to say that they really enjoy what you guys doing, and like the person asked me to just tell you that you guys are doing an amazing job. Don't go mainstream.
Right, thank you.
And just do what you do best, because this type of music, because you have a great fan base in the Eastern Europe, like Russia, Ukraine, I guess, because we again share the same like gloomy type of melancholic spirit, feeling for the music, and a lot of people want to sound like reproduce the same type of sound and make the same type of music. And I know like you worked already with few artists in Russia, and it was pretty success. So I know that Abusphere, they're recording another album. They're just working on a new album, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna ask you to produce it again. I mean, choose to mix it and master this next album, because
that would be really cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed that album as well. I'm quite happy with how it turned out, and like you say, it's I think that often I think there's a good connection between like what we do and say Russian bands, and I find a lot of stuff from there which I enjoy a lot. So quite a lot of great bands with melancholic feeling that I like a lot.
Just to wrap it up, what's playing in your playlist right now for the past 2 weeks? What you guys been listening to?
I've been listening to a German band called Doomed a lot, and their latest album's called 6 Anti-Odes to Life. I think that's pretty good. I just got the CD. Yesterday, and also some Australian death metal called Deprivation. What else? A little bit of the latest Caspian.
I see. This is like post-rock, right, from US, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Alejandro, what you've been spinning for the past couple weeks?
Yeah, I'm just having a black metal period. This band, Creech Machine, from I think it's the same people from Magla. I mean the same drummer and same vocalist. All this this band, I don't remember if it's from Sweden or Norway, but Tribulation, which is like a kind of soft black metal with some kind of occult lyrics on that. And I recommend Jari a band yesterday.
I think we lost Alejandro.
Might be. Yeah,
so
he went into stasis here.
Yeah, he did. He really went into that frozen state.
Yep.
Do you know the band that he was trying to recommend to you a couple days ago? Just finish off his statement for him.
Oh, I actually don't remember the name now, because he sent me a couple different ones.
No, guys.
Hey, there you are.
Oh, yeah, you're back. You went to Stasis.
I don't know.
Just joking.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you froze when you were gonna tell us what you recommended me, but I don't remember the name of the band. So
I guess the copyrights were just kicked in,
Yeah.
It's a great band for Spain, and it's called Aversio Humanitatis.
Oh, it's
It's
like another
very
like
nice.
doom
Yeah,
band.
it's kind of black metal sometimes.
Mm.
You know, like, well, yeah, I don't know why my background is like blurred. I don't know what happened. Okay.
Guess something's going on. Anyways, it was a pleasure to talk to you, lads, and I hope we all can meet sometime in like better times when there's no isolation and there's like everything and the borders are open and we can always
when we can travel again.
Yeah, can travel again and enjoy some
Yeah.
beers together somewhere in Florida. I don't know, because it seems like it's convenient place to meet up. You know, like it's close to Colombia. It's pretty close to Canada. Not too close to Sweden though, but it's within like.
I made it there before, so it's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh, Nova Scotia. I don't know if you want to travel there after the rampage. I don't know if you've been following the news. We had like
I heard
Canada,
about that.
we had the most horrifying like shooting in the 20 years. And it happened in Nova Scotia, so it was like probably the most nicest provinces in Canada after British Columbia. Like Nova Scotia was just like the most like quieter. It's quiet. It's friendly, and like
I probably told you that I probably told you that I wanted to visit there.
I remember that. It would be nice to like travel there, and it would be a nice place to write music. For sure.
Yeah, I think that it's always terrible, these things, but I don't worry too much about getting caught in anything like that from going there. So
could happen anywhere, anytime. It's just
exactly. That's just the thing. So
I will need a visa to go to Canada, but we can repeat Spain.
Yes.
Of course. Yeah.
Spain is nice. Like I know in Colombia, there's Varadero. Yeah, it's. Is it Cartagena? Is it in Colombia?
Cartagena? Yeah, Cartagena is in Colombia.
Cartagena is pretty sweet place to travel and to stay. I hope it's pretty safe for tourists, close to the beach. That's what I heard. That's what I heard. I don't know, like maybe.
Cartagena is like is full of ancient stories about pirates. There's a big battles there with the British, old ships and the Dutch. But Colombia is a safe place, but Cartagena is one of the most, for tourists, is one of the most packed place to be. So, it's like, the three world countries, so you can get scam, robbed. I don't want to talk bad about my country, but, it's like being awareness about, you have to be careful if you visit Brazil, Colombia, even Spain. Spain is like, when you travel quite a lot, you find that there's no perfect place. So every single country has problems and their problems. So, but Spain was great. I was enjoying it a lot, and Sweden was magical for myself. I love it. I love Sweden.
So, what was your favorite part about Sweden? Because I know I can relate to that as well. I'm just gonna say what was my favorite part as well. So, or like maybe three things that you enjoyed. Or that.
I enjoy a lot that garlic bar.
Yes, I know.
That
you went there as well.
Yeah, I bring everybody there. So yeah.
I really enjoyed the. Did you try the
the bold testicles?
The the testicle. Yeah.
Bröderna Olssons, for anybody who knows. Yeah.
It's a famous place.
Super.
I visit quite a lot of museums there that I really enjoyed it, and of course, going to the Jari studio was
special,
great,
right?
And having some have some beers there, and then I don't remember. The same day we went to the garlic bar, so it was quite a fun day.
Yeah, when we went there was no one there. I don't know why. Maybe it was the middle of the week. We were by ourselves.
It was pretty early in the evening.
Okay. Actually. Yeah. Did you go? Did you guys go for like crackers and cheese, the secret sauce?
I don't remember, did we? I don't think we spent that much time in the studio to do that, maybe, but do you remember any?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's a classic anyway.
The classic
classic
recipe to make great music.
Yeah, the classic Enshine meal.
Yes, yeah. Hopefully,
I want-
Seb will
I
relate
want
to
to-
that as well.
I want to visit the Gotland island. When Jari has this little house there, I don't know, summer house.
Yeah,
right.
it's, the best place, the best place in Sweden, in my
Go
opinion.
isolate yourself, right? That's probably the place you
Yep.
want to go there.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
All right. Perfect. So again, I want to thank you for taking your time and just talking about the album, about random stuff. Really appreciate it. Again, whoever's watching this, Exgenesis album is coming out May 15. Go check it out. Go get yourself a copy. It's worth it. And the new single will come out in 2 days.
I think,
Hopefully.
at least.
At least, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
don't count me on that. So hopefully we can get a taste of another song, and I hope it's gonna blow everybody's mind. Any other wishes? Anything that you like to share or tell us before we just finish this interview?
Hope on my
know,
side.
Just hope you enjoy whatever comes your way, and thanks for anybody who checked this out, and take care, everybody.
Yeah,
Hopefully we can.
Thanks
Go
for
ahead.
the
Sorry.
support, and thanks for the support, and for the people in Asia and even in India. We have a lot of friends in Egypt as well that are hardcore fans of Exgenesis. So I wanted to thank you to everyone to help us to build this album again.
Awesome. So hopefully we can do this again and have a beer chat in real life, and hopefully this whole COVID situation ends, so we can have some peace for a moment, right? For some time.
Sure, man.
All right, lads. So take care of yourself. Stay true, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, man.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.